The Sigma 18 to 50mm f2.8 contemporary zoom lens. In this video we're going to be testing it out and seeing if it's worth the £429 price tag. We'll be putting it up against the Sigma Trio, the 16mm, 30mm and 56mm f1.4 lenses to see if it can compete with them and if you really need to buy these three lenses or you can make do with this one zoom lens. So let's start by taking a closer look at the 18 to 50mm. Measuring just 10cm high by 6cm wide, it's a very compact zoom lens, perfect for anyone looking for a compact zoom lens. The zoom ring is smooth and has a feel to it like stirring honey, whilst the focus ring is just as smooth, just a little looser. Unlike the Sony kit lens, the 16 to 50mm, which has a feel to it like a cheap pair of underpants with no elastic in them. The Sigma is clearly more refined. Now the 18 to 50mm has the weather sealing gasket to keep the water and dust away from your camera's internals, just like the Sigma's 16mm and 56mm lenses. Unfortunately, the seal isn't found on the Sigma 30mm. Sigma, what are you doing? Put a seal on it. Let's go take a look at the focal lengths of each of these lenses and see how they compare. So we'll start by taking a look at the 18 to 50mm at 18mm. Let's see how this compares to the Sigma 16mm. The first thing to notice is that the Sigma 16mm is a lot bigger than the 18 to 50mm lens. And back to the 18mm, and back to the 16mm. So you can see the difference between the 2mm difference there in the lenses, not a massive change, but let's take a closer look at the detail on the cottage. So here's the 18mm and back to the 16mm. Now I've looked over these for over 20 minutes and both are very comparable. Very sharp and very detailed photos, even at 2.8 aperture. Now I would just say that the 16mm has slightly more chromatic aberration than the 18 to 50mm in my test. I'll leave the photos down below in a file sharing site for you to take a closer look in case YouTube has compressed them. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's switch now to the Sigma 30mm and see how this compares to the 18 to 50mm at 30mm. Something worth noting here is if you're used to Sony zoom lenses, you get a readout of the focal length on the back of your camera or in the eyepiece. With the Sigma lens though, you don't get this. All you get to go off is the outer numbers on the lens itself, so it's very hard to match up exactly 30mm, which is a little bit frustrating. So this is the Sigma 30mm and let's change over to the 18 to 50mm at roughly 30mm. As you can see, I didn't get it quite right. Let's zoom in and have a closer look. So this is the 18 to 50mm at approximately 30mm zoomed in, and let's switch to the Sigma 30mm. And I've looked over these quite a bit and both again are very comparable, very sharp detailed images. I'll give the slight edge only very slightly to the 30mm, Sigma 30mm. Very close, so if you weren't pixel peeping, we probably wouldn't be able to tell a difference. Okay, let's do the same now with the Sigma 56mm. So this is the cottage at 56mm using the Sigma 56mm. Let's switch over though to the 18 to 50 at 50mm. And you can see the difference what that extra 6mm gives you. But let's zoom in again and take a closer look at both of them and see which one performs the better. So we'll start with the Sigma 56mm and let's swap to the Sigma 50mm. And there's no surprise here, the 56mm is the sharper of the images, because at the end of the day this is the sharpest lens you can buy for your Sony ASPC camera, so the winner is the 56mm. It's worth noting the 50mm is not far behind, in fact it's still very good. To give you some idea of the zoom range of this lens, at the minute we're at 18mm and I'm approximately arm's length away from the front of the lens. I'm going to move out the way now and zoom all the way to 50mm so you get an idea of its reach. So one of the things you may be wondering is, can you vlog with this lens? Well, it doesn't have any kind of stabilization built in, so you may get the jitters if you've not got any inbuilt stabilization in your camera. But this is the lens at 18mm, and whilst it's doable, you're going to need a bicep like Arnold Schwarzenegger for your vlogging. One of the best features of this lens is its minimum focus distance. You see, the Sigma 56mm has a minimum focus distance of 50 centimeters. The Sigma 30mm has 30 centimeters. The 16mm has a minimum focus distance of 25 centimeters, but the 18 to 50mm has a 12.1 centimeter minimum focus distance, meaning you can get really close to your subject. Let's take a look at the weight of each of the lenses. The 18 to 50mm comes in at 290 grams, the 16mm 405 grams, the 30mm 265 grams, and finally the 56mm at 280 grams. Now the 3 prime lenses can stop down to an aperture of f1.4, with the 18 to 50mm only going down to 2.8. What does this mean though in terms of background blurriness? Let's take a look. First off, I'd like to apologise for the model, but this is the 18 to 50mm at 30mm at f2.8. Notice the bokeh blurriness in the background. Let's swap over to the 30mm f1.4 and compare the background. So as you can see, the f1.4 obviously gives a lot more blurry background, and that's what an f1.4 gives you. If you're worried about low light performance of the 18 to 50mm only going down to 2.8, there's no need to worry, that is plenty. Anything I find f4 or below is more than enough, so yeah, no need to worry about low light performance with the 2.8. Focus with the 18 to 50mm is very quick and is comparable to native Sony lenses. Let's take a look at the video quality you can expect from the 18 to 50mm at different focal lengths and different apertures. And let's do the same with some photos now. Now these photos are not going to win any awards, but it's just to show you a good idea what you can expect from this lens. All are JPEGs straight out of the camera with no editing, and all will be available for download in the link in the description so you can take a closer look. I had a day with the lens, and to say I'm impressed with this lens is an understatement. It's very sharp at different focal lengths and different apertures. It was superb. Clarity and detail is just amazing. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below, and make sure you download the files yourself to have a closer look on your computer, just in case YouTube has compressed any of these images. And whilst you're here, consider subscribing to my channel if you like this type of content. So what's my conclusion to this lens? Well, it's simply superb. Sigma's no compromise to detail and sharpness is evident. It's as sharp as a butcher's knife. Does it replace the 3 Sigma Prime lenses? No, and it's not meant to. This is a fantastic, compact, sharp, lightweight zoom lens where you need to change your focal length on the fly. Great for street photography, portrait photography, landscape photography, wedding and party photography, as well as video. The 3 prime lenses with their 1.4 aperture are just a step up from this lens, but lose out to convenience. Does anybody really like changing lenses? If you're after a compact, lightweight zoom lens, you can't go wrong with the Sigma 18 to 50mm. Its only downside is no stabilization and no focal readout length on the back of the camera. I also wouldn't recommend it for wildlife photography or sports photography, it just hasn't got the reach. And if you can get away with these two things, then you'll probably have the sharpest zoom lens in class and a much needed upgrade from the standard kit lens. It gets the walking in all weathers seal of approval. Well, that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed it. If you have, give it a like. If you want to see further videos from myself, hit that subscribe button. Any questions, put them in the comments below. And what I'm going to do is leave you a link now to my deer video where we head to Woburn Abbey, where we go on a little bit of an adventure to try to capture that calendar shot of a deer. Well worth a watch. Click on it now to watch that video, but thank you very much for watching.